Alright, Shalom, coming to you in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Rakakadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, and salutations unto the Akim that continue to push the word in truth and sincerity. So coming back here with this quick hit video, and I did say in one of my previous videos that I'm going to do, get back into the book of Genesis. Apostle Har mentioned it in one of his videos. We got start getting back into books like that, alongside other books, and stuff. And just quickly gonna go through the book of Genesis, the second chapter, right? And it says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them." Okay, talking of the heavenly bodies and whatnot. And on the seventh day, it says here God ended his work, but really it's the powers. In Hebrew, it'd be Alachayam. The word for God in Hebrew, power, is Allah. But when you add the yam to the end of a word, it makes it plural. So really it should say, if you were to read it in English, it would more properly translate to something along the lines of, on the seventh day the powers or the gods ended their work. Okay, because it's talking of the angelic force led by Yahweh Shai. Okay, that angelic force being the first fruits, the first spirits created, which are the elect, if you can bear it in the spirit. And so it says on the seventh day, the powers ended their work. It says his work, which they had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And the powers blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. And that is the 7,000th year. Okay. It's not a 24-hour period. It was a period of a day equates to 1,000-year period. We see that in the scriptures also, a day is as 1,000 years and 1,000 years as a day to the Most High. So this was actually, each day was a 1,000-year period. So the seventh day is on the 7,000th year. Okay. So and the powers blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which the powers created and made. Okay, these are the generations of heaven, of the heavens and of the earth, when they were created in the day that the Lord power made the earth and the heavens, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, and the Lord power had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and when there was not a man to till the ground. But they went up amidst from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. Hence why, when you go camping and stuff, or if you take a walk in the park early in the morning, it's wet, it's dew, because that is the mist that comes from the earth to water the plant and the greenery. And the Lord power formed a man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Now people were already upon the earth, man was upon the earth, but what it's talking about here is the chosen line, starting with the man Adam, and from his seed they would be known as the Adamites. I believe you find that in Genesis 3 or Genesis 5, I believe. Okay, they were known as the Adamites, and the breath which was in his nostrils doesn't mean that he was dead, he was just a corpse. No, he was alive and breathing, oxygen, but the breath that was put in his nostrils, the breath of life, is the wisdom, knowledge and understanding. And man became a living soul. Okay, and the Lord power planted a garden eastward in Eden. Okay, and Eden comes from the Hebrew word Aidan, which means paradise. The whole world is Aidan. The whole world is was a paradise. Not so much now, but it will go back to that. Okay, because there was one landmass. It wasn't detached pieces of land all over. It was just one landmass called Aidan, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Okay. And out of the ground made the Lord power to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. That's talking about actual food, the various trees, and the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge and good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. And you still have these rivers today. Some of them still have the same names. The name of the first Pison, which is composed of the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. Salaki, I missed something out. Just to say, eastward in Eden, if you can bear it in the spirit, that was around the region of Jerusalem, as what we know it today. Okay. You read on about the various rivers. I'm going to jump down a couple of verses. I'm going to go to verse 15. It talks about the river Euphrates in verse 14. And in verse 15 it says, "And the Lord power took the man and put him into the garden." So there was a specific place, a garden within Eden, which is around, if you can bear it, as I said, around Jerusalem. That area of what we know is Israel, Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem. That's where Eden was. And put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord power commanded the man, saying, "Of every tree of the garden thou may freely eat," talking of actual food, but the tree of knowledge, good and evil, which is a philosophy, the other philosophies, thou shalt not eat of it, for the day that thou eat of it, thou shalt surely die. Because we already been given the breath. As we read above, the Lord already gave us the knowledge, which was he put the breath of life into our nostrils, which was the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So of the other philosophies, we were only meant to know good. We weren't meant to know the dark side, because there's a dark side to that wisdom. Okay. And the Lord said, "It's not good that man should be alone. I'll make him a helpmeet for him." And out of the ground the Lord formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and he brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, there was the name thereof. And the word Adam is from the Hebrew Adama, which means of the ground, or earth man. And Adam gave names to the cattle and to the fowl of the air, to every beast of the field. And for Adam there was not found a helpmeet for him, meaning that Adam hadn't yet had a wife. Okay. And it says, the Lord caused, in verse 21, the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. Now, we know how Christians break that down. That's incorrect. What that means is the deep sleep is the Lord made Adam go off. The Lord made Adam depart from the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Because as we later on know in the scriptures, a part of the law is not to go in onto a close family member. Okay? It's forbidden, it's against the law. But Adam, what that means, a deep sleep means, Adam went off from the law, and a rib is pretty much a close relative. He got with a close relative, and he knew her, and that became his wife. Okay, so that's the deep sleep that Adam went into. And the rib which the Lord had taken from man, he made a woman and brought her unto the man. Okay, so actually the woman came to him, which was of his rib, of his close relatives, and he got with her, man. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones." He said, "Listen, now you're going to be mine, all right? Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, and it shall be one flesh." Because I've done lessons on that before. When you know a virgin and you go up inside of her, she actually mentally and physically morphs to you. But that's a whole nother lesson. Verse 25, and they were both naked, and the man and his wife, and were not ashamed, meaning not that they didn't have any clothes on, meaning that they at that time they had only known the truth. They hadn't yet gone off to the serpent man, which would later on come back as Esau. So they were naked, meaning they only knew righteousness, and they hadn't gone off, and they were not ashamed because they only knew and walked in righteousness. This is just a quick breakdown of Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and I'm going to go through chapter 3 and 4 and so on and things of that nature. But for now, I'm going to wrap it up and say shalom.